state have the ability, have the talent, and that the emphasis is being placed on skilling these youth. That is why when we worked out what are the steps required, emphasis has been placed on skilling and on getting young people into these skilling programs so that the industry is able to get not only educated people, but people who have been skilled in specific job roles to undertake specific tasks. So, in combination with the formal education system, this non-formal skilling program, which NASSCOM, as the Sector Skills Council under the National Skill Development Mission, has been doing across different parts of the country, is, I think, a very, very important part. And building linkages with academic institutions. And again, I see that today in the afternoon there is a program and part of the session with the academia. So building these skilling programs and linkages with the academic institutions is one very critical piece. The second aspect is the infrastructure. As you know, this industry is a completely global industry. And while we all know that we have our own problems in the country with regard to infrastructure and with regard to so many other issues, people across the world have no patience or time. They say, that's your problem, you deal with it. What I want is this, can you give it to me or not? So we have to be able to create those islands to begin with, even before we try to bring that level of assurance across the entire ecosystem. And again, this is something which I'm happy and I certainly look forward to visiting Naya Raipur. I have not had the benefit of doing that earlier, and unfortunately I'll be doing it after I speak, so I cannot even speak about it. But all that we have seen is very, very promising, and it really looks extremely good. In fact, I must also thank the Honorable Chief Minister and many of the senior officials because he had taken the senior officials, Chief Secretary, IT Secretary, and many of the other secretaries as well to Bangalore, visited our warehouse in Bangalore, and also come to Bombay, addressed the Executive Council of NASSCOM, where all the senior leaders of the IT industry were there, and shared his vision, and also explained about Naya Raipur, what the plans are for IT, and all of that. And I think it was a very convincing presentation made by the state and by the Chief Minister himself. So that, I think, really set the ball rolling, and thereafter many individual companies and leaders have had a discussion with the state, and I believe that this momentum won't continue. This particular development also comes at a very important juncture for the industry, because as the industry is getting into more and more value-added areas and delivering higher and higher business value, today we have not just disruptive technologies of social media, mobility, and so on, but we are also into advanced data analytics and enabling companies to make a digital transformation. All companies around the world are struggling on how to make a digital transformation, and it's the Indian IT industry which is helping in a big way across the world, both by providing these abilities to those companies, and also by many of those companies setting up their operations in India to enable them to do the digital operation, to do the digital transformation within their company. So as we are going into the higher levels, there is also sometimes a perception that at the lower end of the value addition, many of these opportunities are moving out of India to other countries, other competing countries. Not only it need not be so, it should not be so. And many people in the industry have realized that there is a need to take the industry beyond the Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, NCR, Mumbai, Pune cities, and go into other locations which can actually sometimes not just compete with locations across the world for not so skill dependent jobs, but also in some cases higher and higher skills. We've seen examples of the industry moving into towns and cities like Coimbatore, Madurai, Mysore in the south. We've seen nearer to Chhattisgarh the industry moving into Jaipur. We've seen the industry moving into cities like Indore. So clearly there is a trend and a clear recognition of the value proposition that these cities offers, and which is the niche in the industry which should really go into these locations. And they are finding that when they go into these locations, especially in the early stages, the industry is so well received and so well looked after by the state that they are extremely happy at those locations. And once the first few steps are taken, then it develops a momentum of its own and grows. That is the paradigm that we are seeing everywhere in the country. At the same time, there is also, I think, an aspiration, especially because of today India being the fourth largest ecosystem for startups and entrepreneurs in the IT sector. We will soon become the second largest in the world, second only after the US. We are already the fastest growing, and that's of course why we are able to leapfrog over others. So it is also natural that every state would aspire to be in that space as well. And again, I think that this is a very reasonable and a very desirable aspiration because, as I said, when we are looking at applying technology to solve our own problems, then even the innovators need to be people from our own milieu who are familiar with the problems and familiar with the technology. And therefore, providing an opportunity to young, talented, energetic people from the state in this manner is important. But it's a complex area, it's not easy, it cannot be done overnight, and we need to take calibrated steps. So in the discussions that we have had with the state government officials, what we have emphasized is that first we have to create the ground for entrepreneurship. We have to create that momentum. And this was done very nicely in Kerala, for example, through the startup village, where students from many of the educational institutions were encouraged to be, for lack of a better expression, weekend entrepreneurs. Take time off, go to these incubation centers and actually dabble around, experiment and try and create new products. It's a little different from the normal incubator where companies actually come and set up a whole operation. It's students who are just having good fun and creating really innovative stuff. But the important thing is, while many of them did not go on to set up companies immediately, the whole spirit of entrepreneurship really caught on. And it's quite amazing to see the amount of energy and enthusiasm amongst the people over there. I think that is the kind of exposure which needs to be given to students and in the academic institutions in Chhattisgarh. And I think that once the ground is prepared in that manner, then the stage is set to take it to the next level in terms of setting up warehouses and incubation centers. And that's what we are now working with the state to facilitate. NASSCOM is not just the body which represents the industry, it also represents a very unique philosophy. And it's a very unusual philosophy, if I may say that. Because it is an industry in which all the members come together, and while they may be competing in the market, when they come together, they are willing to actually help each other and work collectively and get involved in enterprises like this. So you will find that people from the industry would be very supportive. And on behalf of NASSCOM, I would certainly like to say that we would stand shoulder to shoulder with the states and with Chhattisgarh in particular to help you to reach your full potential as a state, to build your infrastructure, to build your skills and manpower, to build the innovation ecosystem. On the 1st of March, we had the Prime Minister who was the chief guest at our 25-year event, and at the hands of the Prime Minister, we had launched the Innovate for India campaign, which is taking shape even as we speak, and which you'll be hearing more about in the months to come. And that is a campaign which, again, we believe has to spread to every corner of the country and every state. So any which way you look at it, growth of the industry, adoption of technology, increase and rise in innovation, application of the newer technologies, leveraging of the mobile revolution. These steps by the state, we believe, are extremely important, and we believe that it is both our duty, responsibility, and also a privilege to be associated with the government, which is as proactive and as focused as the government here. So thank you, sir, for having arranged for this program and for having asked us to support the state in its efforts, and let me assure you that we will leave absolutely no stone unturned to provide all possible support to the state and continue to work with the industry and the state officials. So thank you very much for this opportunity.